Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening once again. I am Gourav Gupta and I welcome all of you once again to the YouTube channel of Gradeup. Now, friends, I hope all of you are following my previous sessions. Generally, I'm taking these sessions at 6 o'clock. All right. So, in case you want to look at some of the other basic things that I have already covered, so you can go back and look at the recordings of all these sessions which are already available on YouTube. Now friends, today we are going to start with quadratic equations. We'll be looking at some of the very basics of quadratic equations, and my aim of taking these sessions is to cover all the basic things, all the basic concepts of these topics, basically using which you will be able to increase your percentile in these examinations. Now the examinations that I'm talking about are CAT. So if you are an aspirant for CAT 2021 or maybe next year, these sessions are going to help you. So the examinations that I'm going to cover, I'm talking about are CAT. You can write SNAP, CMAT, Narsi Munji, Symbiosis, IFT, a lot of examinations. Now friends, these sessions will also help you in various other examinations other than CAT as well. All right. So if you are planning to take any aptitude examination, any examination which will test your aptitude, your quantitative aptitude, then all these sessions will definitely help you, because in these sessions I am covering all the basics of all the topics from the beginning. Okay. Now friends, previously, like prior to this topic, if I'll talk about algebra only, if I'll talk about the equations, in the last two sessions we have covered basics about linear equations, how to solve linear equations in two variables as well as three variables. Okay, I have also taken some of the examples which will make these concepts very simple for all of you. So friends, let us start with the next session, that is quadratic equations. Now today I'll be covering some of the very basic things in quadratic equations, followed by a few number of questions. All right. So let us begin with quadratic equations. All right. Now, if I talk about the standard form of quadratic equations. Good evening, Payal. Good evening, Drishti. How are you people? Okay. So if I talk about the standard form of a quadratic equation, I can say that a quadratic equation's standard form that we need to take is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. Now, before, what is a quadratic equation? Basically, quadratic equation is any equation in which the highest degree will be 2. Okay, so if you look at the variable that is used in the given equation, you can see that it is x, variable is x, and the power of x is 2. All right, so now I can say that this is a quadratic equation. In this case, a, b, and c are the constants. So they can be any constants, they can be any real numbers. All right. So A, B, and C, as I mentioned, these are constants and X is the variable. Now, one of the most important conditions for this equation to be a quadratic equation is the value of A cannot be 0. Okay, so A, B, and C are any three constants provided the value of A should not be equal to 0. If the value of A is 0, then this portion will be eliminated and the equation will not be a quadratic but a linear equation. All right. So you have to take care about this condition that A cannot be equal to 0. So friends, this is the standard form in which you will have a quadratic equation. All right. Now, if I talk about the number of solutions of any quadratic equation, generally we have two solutions for a given quadratic equation. That means generally we have two values of x. All right. Now, the nature of these values of x will depend on a lot of parameters that we are going to cover next in this lecture. All right. So first of all, let us look at some of the methods that we can use to calculate the values of x. All right. Now we have two different methods using which we can find the value of x. Okay. The first method is the method of factorization. Okay. Now this method cannot be applicable. This method cannot be applied in each and every case. Okay, so this method can be applicable only when we are able to split the middle term. You will see the method in a few seconds. All right. So this is a factorization method. Once again, I'll tell you that this method is not applicable in every case. Okay. So let us start this method. Let us have a look at this method using an example. So I have considered an equation x square plus 15x plus 56. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll try to split this middle terms in two terms. Okay, so I'll take an example. So 15x is what I have. So I can write 15x with the help of any two terms in a lot of ways. So one way is I can write 15x as 10x plus 5x. Another way is I can write 15x as 11x plus 4x. So likewise, there are plenty of ways of splitting 15x as the sum or maybe as the difference of two terms. So if I'll write it as a difference of two terms, I can write it as 20x minus 5x. Okay, so likewise, there are plenty of ways in which 15x can be written as the sum or the difference of any two terms. Now we have to select out of these ways, we have to select the way such that the product of these two terms, 10x and 5x, matches with the product of these two terms. Okay, the extremes, right? So if I look at this product in the first case, 10x into 5x is 50x. Be very careful about the plus and the minus sign. This is one important thing that should be taken care of in these questions. Okay, so 10x plus 5x, if I'll multiply these two terms, I'll get 50x, but 50x is not the product that I require. All right. Similarly, 11x and 4x, the product here is 44x. Again, I don't require this. In this case, 20x and minus 5x. My dear friends, you need to take care about the signs. So 20x and minus 5x, what is the product here? The product here is minus 100x. Okay, the product is minus 100x. Again, I don't require this. All right. So what you have to do is you have to find out how 15x can be written as the sum or the difference of two numbers whose product is 56x square. Okay, so using a little bit of hidden trial, you can find out these numbers. So I can write 15x as 7x plus 8x. All right. Now 7x plus 8x, yes, it is 15x, and the product of 7x and 8x is equal to 56x square. Okay, so now I'll write 15x as 7x plus 8x. All right, so this is the first step. In case it may happen that you are unable to split the middle term, okay, in case you are unable to split the middle term, then we will use the second method, which I'll be explaining in a few minutes. All right, so it is not necessary that in every case you will be able to split the middle term and write 15x as two terms whose product is the product of first and the last term. All right, so it will not be possible in every case. Okay, but it is possible in this case, so we'll continue and do the factorization. So the next step is, from the first two terms, I'll take x common. I'll be left with x plus 7, and then from the last two terms, I'll take plus 8 common, and again I'll be left with x plus 7 in the brackets. From this entire expression on the left hand side, now you can take x plus 7 common and you'll be left with x plus 8. And now I have done the factorization of this quadratic expression. Okay, so now on the left hand side, I have x plus 7 multiplied by x plus 8. Now this expression's product on the left hand side is given equal to as 0. Okay, now friends, what is the condition or what is the situation when the product of two numbers is equal to 0? If I'll say that a into b is equal to 0, can we say that at least one of them will be equal to 0? Yes, we can say that. Okay, so in this case, either x plus 7 will be equal to 0. All right, okay, I'll erase this. So either x plus 7 will be equal to 0, or x plus 8 will be equal to 0. From this, the value of x can be either minus 7 or it can be minus 8. Okay, we'll never say that x will be equal to minus 7 and minus 8. No, x cannot take two values simultaneously. Okay, so the perfect way to express the answer is x will be either minus 7 or minus 8. All right, am I clear? So don't forget to put or between them, and यहाँ पे कभी भी नहीं आएगा because x cannot take two different values simultaneously. All right, so we can say that the values of x that will satisfy this given quadratic equation will be either minus 7 or minus 8. Am I clear? Great. Good, Krupa, Drishti, Payal, all of you are responding it very well. Okay. Now friends, this is the first method. Now let's move on to the second method. The second method is the direct formula, which is applicable in each and every case. The first method has some limitation. It cannot be applied everywhere. But second method doesn't have any limitation. It is applicable each and everywhere. Okay. So this formula is x is equal to minus b plus minus under root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Okay, so if you use plus sign here, you will get one value of x. If you'll use a negative sign, you will get the other value of x. All right, so let's have a look at one of the examples. Okay, so just to show you the application of this formula, let's have a look at this example. So I have considered the equation x square minus 7x minus 2 equal to 0. Now first of all, quickly let's write the values of a, b and c. Okay, so value of a in this case will be 1. Here the value of a is 1. I'll compare it with the standard equation ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. Okay, so if I'll compare these two equations, then the values of a, b and c can be a will be equal to 1. The value of b, again my dear friends, taking care of the sign, the value of b is minus 7 and the value of c is minus 2. Okay, now carefully pick these values of a, b and c and substitute in the formula. Okay, so I'll try to write it myself. Okay, so the value of x will be minus b, that is minus of minus 7, which will become plus 7, plus minus under root of b square. Minus 7 square is 49 minus 4 times a into c. So minus 4 times 1 and c is minus 2. Okay, divided by twice of a, 2 into 1. So upon simplification, it will become 7 plus minus under root of 49 plus 8. Okay, so it is minus 4 into 1 into minus 2. Again, be careful about the signs. Whole divided by 2. All right, so it will be 7 plus minus under root of 49 plus 8 will be 57 whole divided by 2. All right, I hope all of you are clear up till this point. So let's have a look at it once again. So it will be x is equal to 7 plus minus under root of 49 plus 8 the whole divided by 2. So it is 7 plus minus under root of 57 divided by 2. So one value of x will be 7 plus under root 57 upon 2 and the other value of x will be 7 minus under root 57 upon 2. All right, so these are two different values of x which we have obtained. So x is either one of these two numbers. Am I clear? So again, I'll rephrase. So just before this, I'll go back. So we have seen one method to solve a quadratic equation to find the value of x or to find the roots of the quadratic equation. Friends, the values of x that we are finding, the solution of these quadratic equation, these values of x are also called the roots of the equation. Okay, so if somebody is asking you to find out the roots of a quadratic equation, you just need to find out the values of x which will satisfy the given quadratic equation. So this was one of the methods, the factorization method, in which we splitted the middle term. And the second method is the direct formula, which we have just seen, in which I have used the direct formula to get the values of x. All right. Okay. Now, Krupa, which portion you want me to repeat? Can you quickly tell me? Krupa, which portion you want me to repeat? I hope I've just summarized all these things, so you might not have any problem now. Friends, there is a little lag, so if I speak it right now, you will get it after like 6 to 7 seconds. So I'll have to wait for Krupa if he has any doubt. Drishti, please don't write the statement that you have a doubt. Just write your doubt immediately. Okay, quickly. I'm waiting for a minute for all of you. So those who have doubt, please don't ask for any permission. Just write your doubt immediately. Okay, so Krupa, you don't understand the direct method. So Krupa, are you clear with the formula that I have written here? Okay, so I hope you are clear with the formula. So I'll quickly explain it once again. So if the quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, okay, I can use the above formula, the given formula, to directly find the values of x. Okay, so the formula is minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. If I look at this equation, here the value of a is equal to 1, the value of b is minus 7, and the value of c is minus 2. All right. So these are the values of a, b, and c. Now we just have to directly substitute these values. There is no need to understand this method if you already remember this formula. Okay. So you just need to directly substitute these values of a, b, and c in the formula, and you will get the values of x. All right. Okay. Now, Payal, I hope I'm clear. Krupa, is it fine? So if I'll put the values of A, B, and C, you will get this as the values of X. Okay. Upon simplification, 7 plus minus under root 57 whole divided by 2. Now you can separate these values. So one of them is 7 plus root 57 and the other is 7 minus root 57. In both cases, it is divided by 2. All right. Okay. Now, Drishti is asking me, in direct method, do we need to take the values of x as 0? Drishti, whenever the value of x is equal to 0, then obviously you'll have to take it as 0. But in this case, the product of x plus 7 and x plus 8 was 0. So I have separately written them as 0 and got the values of x. In this particular case, the value of x is not equal to 0. But yes, definitely if any quadratic equation is giving you the values of x as 0, like I'll give you an example. So if I have equation like x square plus, wait. So x square plus 3x equal to 0. Okay. So from here, if I take x common, x bracket x plus 3 equal to 0. So now in this case, I can say x is equal to 0. Either x is equal to 0 or x plus 3 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 0 or minus 3. All right. So I hope, Drishti, I have like given answer to your query. All right. So now, friends, let's move ahead and look at the next few things. Right? Okay. Now, if we have seen this direct formula, okay, if we'll look at this direct formula, so this is the quadratic equation that is given to us, and this is the direct formula of finding the values of x. Okay. Now, friends, we are going to talk about the nature of the roots of this quadratic equation. By nature, I mean to say that we'll have a look at what type of number will it be. Okay, some different examples of the type of numbers are real numbers, complex numbers. Okay, if you know these things, I'm not going to cover the classification of numbers in this lecture. You'll have to wait for that for a few days. Okay, So the type of numbers are real numbers, complex numbers. What are complex numbers? Complex numbers or imaginary numbers. Okay, now complex numbers or imaginary numbers are those numbers which have a negative number in the under root sign. Okay, complex numbers or imaginary numbers are those numbers which will have negative number in the square root sign. All right. Now, other than like these numbers, the real numbers can be classified in two categories: rational numbers and irrational numbers. All right. Am I clear? So definitely I'm not going to discuss all these things. I'll tell you a source which you can use to basically get a proper understanding of all these things. Okay. So towards the end of this lecture, I'll tell you about that. All right. So now friends, let us talk about the nature of roots of a quadratic equation. Okay. Now the nature of roots or the values of x, the nature of the value of x depends on this part. ओके द अंडर रूट साइन द अंडर रूट के अंदर जो भी वैल्यू है वट एवर वैल्यू वी हैव इन अंडर रूट विच इज बी स्क्वेयर माइनस 4ac the nature of the roots depends on this value. Okay, now this value is represented as delta or capital D, and this is called the discriminant. If you have heard of this name, discriminant. All right. So here the value of discriminant is b square minus 4ac. So again, I'll repeat, the nature of the roots of a quadratic equation depends on the value of discriminant, which is b square minus 4ac. Now let's have a look at it properly in detail. Okay. Now, like I said, it depends on the value of discriminant, which is b square minus 4ac. Okay. Now we'll look at the different examples. So I'll give you different examples for the different values of b. Okay. Now first of all, this value of d, the value of discriminant, can be either negative, can be less than 0, or it can be greater than 0. All right. So it can be less than 0 or greater than 0. All right. Now on one side, I'll just quickly mention the value of x in terms of this formula. So minus b plus minus under root of delta upon 2a. Delta here is b square minus 4ac. All right. Now friends, I'll consider the first case if delta is less than 0. Okay. If delta is less than 0, I'll take an example of a quadratic equation in front of you. Okay. So let's assume that the quadratic equation is x square plus 4x. Okay. And plus 5 equal to 0. X square plus 4x plus 5 equal to 0. Now let's calculate the values of x using the formula. Now the formula is minus b minus 4 plus minus under root of b square, that is 4 square, b square minus 4ac, 4 into 1 into 5 whole divided by 2. All right. Upon solving, I'll get minus 4 plus minus under root of minus 4. So 16 minus 20 will be minus 4 whole divided by 2. Okay. Upon further solving, I can write it as minus 4 plus minus 2 iota. Okay. Under root of negative 4 can be written as under root of 4 multiplied by under root of minus 1. Under root of 4 is 2 and under root of minus 1 is iota. This is an imaginary number. Okay. Whole divided by 2. Now, which can further be written as minus 2 plus minus iota. All right. Minus 2 plus minus iota. All right. Nikita is saying that, sir, please take class on functions also. Don't worry, Nikita. Slowly and slowly, like I'll cover each and every topic. So don't worry. So the roots are minus 2 plus iota and or minus 2 minus iota. All right, friends. So if delta is less than 0, I can say one thing, that first of all, the roots will be imaginary. Okay, the roots will be imaginary. And second thing that we can say is, this is important. So first thing, delta is less than 0, delta is negative, you have a negative number in the square root. So obviously the roots will be imaginary. Okay. The second thing is, this is very important. Just look at both the roots, -2 plus iota and -2 minus iota. So basically both these roots, if they are imaginary, they will always occur in pair. Okay, they will always occur in pair. That means one of the roots will be the complex conjugate of the other root. Okay, complex conjugate means if one root is in the form of a plus b iota, the other root will be in the form of a minus b iota. All right, this is what you have to take care. Okay, so if one root is imaginary, the other root has to be imaginary, and it will be the complex conjugate of the other root. All right, so where I can use this particular thing, all right, where I can use this particular thing, so I'll tell you one of the usages. So if a question says that there is a quadratic equation whose one root is -5 minus 6 iota. So one of the roots of a quadratic equation is given. So using this, you can write the other root as well. All right. So you can say that if this is one of the roots, the other root will be -5 plus 6 iota, because the imaginary roots always occur in pairs, and we can say that one root will always be complex conjugate of the other root. All right, friends. So I've covered the first case if the value of discriminant is less than 0. All right, now let's move further. I'm erasing whatever is there on the screen. So if delta is less than 0, I can say that the roots will be imaginary and complex conjugate of each other. All right, great. Now let's move ahead and look at the next scenario. If delta is greater than equal to 0. Now, if delta is greater than equal to 0, obviously we can say that the roots will be real. Okay, both the roots will be real. They will not be imaginary. Imaginary roots kab honge? When you have a negative number in the square root. Okay, here you don't have negative number in the square root if delta is greater than equal to 0. Okay, so I can say that both the roots will be real. Okay, now further, this particular thing is divided in two parts. If it is greater than 0 or if it is equal to 0. Okay, so let's have a look at both these things one by one by taking an example, simple example. So if delta is greater than 0, so the value of x is minus b plus minus under root delta whole divided by 2a. All right, so minus b plus minus under root delta upon 2a. Now it is clearly evident that if delta is greater than 0, I will have a positive number in the square root. Okay, if I have positive number in the square root, then such type of numbers are real numbers. This is one thing. So if delta is greater than 0, definitely the roots will be definitely the roots will be real, and they will be different roots. They will be unequal. Okay, one of the roots will be minus b plus root delta upon 2a, and another root will be minus b minus root delta upon 2a. Okay, so if delta is greater than 0, then roots are real and both the roots will have different values. Okay, now the next case, when delta is equal to 0. So if delta is equal to 0, I can say that the value which separates the roots from each other is equal to 0, and hence both the roots will be equal. As in, the roots are minus b plus minus under root delta upon 2a. Now, in this case, if delta is equal to 0, the portion after the plus minus sign, if it is equal to 0, then this portion will not have any effect on the values of roots, and the value of both the roots will be equal, and it will be equal to minus b upon 2a. Okay, so both roots will be equal and their value will be minus b upon 2a. So in this case, roots are still real and they will be equal. All right, am I clear? Manoj says, sir, take class on time, speed, distance, square roots, and cube roots. Definitely, guys. I'll definitely try to conduct these lectures in future. Okay. So I'll give you a proper set of information in case you want to have an access to all the lectures that I take. Okay. So there are some other platforms as well where I take the lectures. So towards the end of this lecture, I'll tell you how to basically join these lectures. All right. Okay. So I'm going to continue now. Now we are clear up till this point. Further, when delta is greater than 0, then there are two different cases. Now these two cases are very, very important. Okay, when delta is greater than 0. Now case 1, just look at that particular part. Case 1 is when delta is a perfect square. Okay, when delta is a perfect square, so the roots are minus b plus minus under root delta whole divided by 2a. Now if delta is a perfect square, let's say the delta is 16. Okay, so if delta is a perfect square, then under root of delta, that means under root of 16, will be an integer, right? So under root of 16 is 4. Now this is not important, the value is not important, but let's understand what is actually happening. Now if delta in this case is a perfect square, then there will not be a square root sign in the value of x. So the under root sign is eliminated, and hence if we don't have an under root sign, I can say that the value will be a rational number. Okay, so real numbers is classified in two parts, rational and irrational. All right, so if delta, the value of discriminant, is a perfect square, then the square root sign will be eliminated from the value of x, and hence the value of x will become a rational number. The second case is if delta is not a perfect square. Now if delta is not a perfect square, then I will not be able to eliminate the square root sign. I'll not be able to eliminate the square root sign, and hence the value of x will be having a number which is there in the under root. Okay, and hence it will be an irrational number. Okay, so you can say that if delta is a perfect square, the roots are rational. If delta is not a perfect square, first thing, the roots will be irrational. Also, in this particular case, both the roots are again conjugates of each other. Both the roots will again occur in pair. All right, as in if in this case one of the roots is a plus under root b, the other root will be a minus under root b. Okay, so in this case also both the roots will occur in pair. All right, so this is all about the nature of the roots of a quadratic equation. All right, let's move ahead and look at some of the things which will directly help you in solving a lot of questions. Okay, so let's have a look at the properties, some properties of a quadratic equation. Very basic properties, properties related to the sum and the product of roots. All right, so let's move ahead. Now if alpha and beta are the roots of a quadratic equation like this, so ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, this is the quadratic equation given, and you are given that alpha and beta are the roots of this quadratic equation. Okay, now guys, we have seen a lot of ways of finding the values of alpha and beta. Not a lot of ways, but exactly two methods. So we have seen two methods of finding the roots of a quadratic equation. Okay, now if you have a way of finding the roots of quadratic equation, that means you have a way of finding the values of alpha and beta. Then once you have got the values of alpha and beta, then it will be very easy for you to find out the values of alpha plus beta and alpha beta. Okay, so alpha beta की value अगर calculate कर ली है आपने, if you have already calculated the values of alpha and beta using the previous methods that I have explained you, then it will be very simple, easy to find out the value of the sum of the roots and the product of the roots. Okay, but we need to understand that this is a very lengthy procedure. So if we want to find out alpha plus beta, then we'll go back and calculate the values of alpha plus beta. Sorry, we'll calculate the values of alpha and beta separately, and then we'll substitute these values. Now I'll give you a formula using which you can directly find the values of alpha plus beta and alpha into beta without actually finding the values of alpha and beta. I'll repeat. I'll give you a method using which you can directly find the value of sum of the roots and product of the roots without actually finding the individual value of the roots. Okay, so let's have a look at the formula. Now alpha plus beta, that is sum of the roots, can be directly written as minus b upon a. A, b and c are the constants in the quadratic equation. So alpha plus beta can be directly written as minus b upon a, and alpha into beta, that is the product of the roots, can be written as c upon a. So for example, if I have a quadratic equation x square minus 6x plus 5 equal to 0, if this is the quadratic equation, I can say that the value of a is 1, the value of b is minus 6, be careful, value of c is plus 5. Okay, so the sum of the roots is minus b upon a, so minus of minus 6, that is 6 upon 1, and the product of roots is c upon a, that is 5 upon 1. All right, I'll take one more example, a quick example. So let's say the quadratic equation is 2x square plus 7x minus 5 equal to 0. So here the value of a is 2, the value of b is plus 7, the value of c is minus 5. Okay, so sum of the roots, that is minus b upon a minus 7 upon 2, and product of the roots is minus 5 upon 2. All right, so I've given you two examples, but doesn't matter the number of examples that I keep giving you, you need to take care about the science by yourself. Okay, please don't commit a mistake. This is like again I'm repeating, because this is one place, this is where generally students commit mistake. Okay, so direct way of finding sum and product of the roots. Okay, so on this slide we have seen, if a quadratic equation is given, how to find sum and product of the roots without calculating the individual value of the roots. Okay, now why I've told you, because this particular thing is directly used in the questions. This is one portion from where you will see plenty of questions coming on your way. Okay, now let's move ahead and look at the next thing. Now the next thing is sum and product of roots will be given to you, and using that you will have to find the quadratic equation. Okay, so finding a quadratic equation using sum and product of the roots. So if s is sum of the roots, which is given, and p is the product of roots, which is also given, then you can directly write the quadratic equation as x square minus sx plus p, where s and p are sum and product of the roots. Okay, for example, if you have the sum of the roots as minus 5 and the product of roots as 6, okay, then the quadratic equation will be x square minus sx minus of minus 5, that is plus 5x, plus product of the roots, which is 6, so plus 6 equal to 0. Okay, so this is the quadratic equation if you are given with the values of sum and product. If you're not given, but there is a way using which you can find the value of sum and product, then also you can use this method and directly find the quadratic equation. All right, okay, I'll take one more example quickly. So let's say sum of the roots is given as 8 upon 3 and product of roots is given as minus 6 upon 5. So you can write the quadratic equation as x square minus 8 upon 3x minus 6 upon 5 equal to 0. Now you can take LCM and simplify, write it in simplified manner, okay, or you may leave it as it is. It depends on the options that are given to you, which you have to mark. Okay, so you may also take LCM and do the simplification, write this equation in simplified manner. All right, okay, great. So this is about the properties in which we have seen the sum and the product of roots. Now let's have a look at the usage of this. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So question says that if alpha and beta are the roots of the equation, the given equation 3x square plus 5x plus 1 equal to 0, then find the equation whose roots are alpha square and beta square. Okay, so a given quadratic equation is there, and you said that alpha and beta are the roots of this equation. Now you have to find another quadratic equation whose roots are alpha square and beta square. Okay, now we'll do this without finding the values of alpha and beta. So we'll take the help of the sum and the product of roots. Okay, now if I'll consider this equation and write the values of alpha plus beta and alpha into beta. So alpha plus beta is minus b upon a, which is minus 5 upon 3, and alpha into beta is c upon a, that is 1 upon 3. Okay, so alpha plus beta and alpha into beta I have written. All right, now friends, I have to find out another equation whose roots are alpha square and beta square. Okay, so what I'll do is, for the required equation, I'll find the values of sum of the roots and product of the roots. Okay, so alpha square and beta square are the roots of the required equation. So the sum of the roots of the required equation will be alpha square plus beta square. Now I want to simplify this particular thing for you so that you will understand everything. So sum of the roots can be written as sum of these two. So alpha square plus beta square. Okay. Now friends, if you know the sum, the formula a plus b whole square, ठीक है ना? So a plus b whole square is a square plus b square plus 2ab. All right. So from here, the value of a square plus b square, that means alpha square plus beta square, can be written as, alpha plus beta whole square minus 2 alpha beta. So what I have done is, I have converted alpha square plus beta square in the form of alpha plus beta and alpha into beta. Okay, so this is what you can write. Some of the roots of required equation are alpha square plus beta square, which can further be written as alpha plus beta whole square minus 2 alpha beta. All right. Now friends, we already have the value of alpha plus beta and alpha into beta. So you can pick these values and substitute in this expression to find the sum of the roots. Okay, so alpha plus beta is minus 5 upon 3, square uska kya ho jayega, it will be 25 upon 9, minus twice of alpha beta, that is minus 2 upon 3. Upon simplification, you will get the value of the sum of the roots as 19 upon 9. Okay, am I clear? All right, so I have calculated the value of the sum of the roots of required equation in this case. Okay, now let's talk about the product of roots. Okay, so product of roots will be alpha square multiplied by beta square. All right, now you can write it as alpha into beta whole square. So alpha square into beta square can be written as alpha beta whole square. Substitute the value of alpha into beta, which is 1 upon 3. So alpha into beta whole square will be 1 upon 9. Okay. Now friends, you have obtained the value of sum of the roots and product of the roots. Okay. So you may substitute it. So equation kya hoti hai? X square minus sx plus p equal to 0. Okay. So the value of s is 19 upon 9. So x square minus 19 upon 9x plus product of the roots 1 upon 9 is equal to 0. Taking LCM, you will get 9x square minus 19x plus 1 equal to 0. And this will be your final answer. Okay, so this is the quadratic equation whose roots are alpha square and beta square. All right. So friends, this is a basic way of solving these questions, okay, which will help you in the examination. Now, what we have learned here is there is no need to actually find the values of alpha and beta. You can just use the values of sum of the roots and product of the roots to basically simplify or solve this type of questions. All right, fine. So you can attempt the other questions that will come on your way using the similar method. All right. So friends, that's all for the day from my side. Now, one important set of information that I was talking about. Uh, Generally, I don't do that, but for all of you, I'm just leaving my contact number behind. So my name is Gourav Gupta. I don't know if you have noticed it or not. And this is my contact number. All right. Now, friends, I take these sessions on YouTube as well as the application, the app of Gradeup. Okay. Now, there are plenty of free sessions that you may attend. So I deliver free sessions on the app as well, in which I discuss a lot of things related to the aptitude examinations, specifically CAT. Okay. So in case you want the regular updates of my upcoming sessions, so you may WhatsApp me your name, your email ID, okay, and the target examinations with their year. Okay, so that means if you are targeting CAT examination the next year, so you may write CAT 22. All right. So likewise, you may mention all these details, send me a WhatsApp, and I'll get you added in one of the groups of Telegram on which I send regular updates of all my upcoming free sessions. All right, friends. So that's all from my side. In case you like this session, please press the like button, do comment, share, and subscribe the channel. All right. Now, friends, just some important things for you. So this is basically the schedule that we follow on YouTube for the free sessions. So you may take a picture of this and you can attend all these sessions. All right. Further, in case you want all the free classes to be at one place, so there is another way for that. So basically, we have just devised like this particular thing for all of you, where you can find all the free classes at one place. So you don't have to look for any topic randomly on YouTube. Okay, so what you can do is you can just click on one of the links that is sent in the comments. Okay, so in the comments or the description of this lecture, you will find the link. All right, so click on that link and it will redirect you to a sheet where you will find all the topics with their YouTube links. Okay. Next is one of the batches that we have launched for CAT program, CAT 21, a percentile booster batch, launched on 13th of August, and you can take admission in this if you are actually preparing for CAT 21 and you need a proper assistance from our mentors. Now, on the left hand side of this screen, you will see the complete details about the CAT 22, the complete course program, one of the batches that we have launched on 4th of August. Okay. On the right hand side, you will see an information for the students who are specifically targeting SNAP, Narsi Munji, CMAT, TestNet examinations. All right. So we have separate batches for that. So the entire details and the set of mentors is mentioned on your screen. These are the different courses that we offer. So we have course for CAT 22. For CAT 21, we have a comprehensive course that will help you in scoring 99 plus percentile. We have a CAT 2021 percentile booster course, and we have other courses for different other MBA entrance examinations. Now, friends, this is the list of mentors that we have on our panel. And I can say that if you look at the average work experience, it is more than 15 years, including all these 8 experts. Some of our super subscription plans for CAT 2021 and 2022 and the other MBA examinations. Okay, the list of examinations covered in all these programs, the validity and the inclusions are given on this screen. Next is we have our Mega Mock Challenge for VARC for the students who are preparing for CAT 2021. This Mega Mock Challenge will started on 28th of August and it will go till 30th of August 12 p.m. So be prepared and do take this Mega Mock Challenge. That's all from my side, friends. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, join us on Telegram, and do subscribe our channel. That's all from my side, friends. Have a good day. Keep solving.